Radical.
Welcome to Radical Rapid Fire Comment Response for April 17th through April 23rd, 2023. Short comments, short replies. I know I'm exactly 2 years behind on this, but watch me. Watch me catch up. I'll do it. It's harder to catch up because I recently had a phone issue. The issue being my phone, it dropped. Butterfingers, completely my fault. The screen cracked all to hell, but I have a new phone. And I think the mic sounds a lot better on this phone. So secretly a plus, maybe a good thing. Who knows? Let's get into it. Patrice Bryant, trashy people got to be trash, but men like men too. And they love to excite you in any way sometimes. It's kind of weird. But yeah, I agree. Trashy people got to be trashy. That's why they're called trashy people. But men like men too. Hey, it's okay if men like men. That's fine. If they like men, I have nothing against any of that. That's okay. People have their preferences. Some women like women, some men like men. As far as loving to excite me, hey, I hate to tell you, any of you guys, the men that like me here, there's nothing you can do to excite me. Well, unless you tell me that, Monolith is the people are coming back and they're actually going to make another Shadow game. Then that might excite me. Other than that, not really. I'm going through a lot of these. There's a lot of these, right? I don't have any official responses, by the way. So I'm going to stumble on this one. There's going to be a lot of these, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of these people. What the fuck? Am I that guy that says, ladies and gentlemen? Madahana Mudahar. No, there's going to be a lot of these that just are not going to be that good, but it's okay. I'm going to catch up, and we'll get back to the official Radical Rick quality of commentary. We'll get back to it, but I got to catch up first. But first, I got to fucking wake up. Dumez. Sometimes, Dumez, I love your comments, but, it's hard to kind of read them sometimes. Just saying. I mean, I love your comments here, but sometimes, like, it starts out N-L-E-O-T. So I don't know what that is, but I'll make out what I can. Again, love the comments, Dumez. That's why I feature them here. But, let's kind of tighten up that a little bit. Tighten it up just a little bit for me. Okay, brother? Here you and me are officially real close best friends in real life confirmed. Now I will be obsessed with you from now on. Well, that's a lie. I don't think I know you, Dumez. Although it's possible, maybe I've met someone you in real life and I didn't even know it. Maybe you look at me a certain way and you go, you sound familiar. I'm like, no, I don't. Obsessed with me from now on. Dumez, if you're obsessed with me from now on, no problem. If it's a positive obsession, not like the Doodle Bob obsession. I don't want that kind of obsession. Sweatpants Joe, sports, and more. I always appreciate your commentary on things. You should start a Patreon. Hey, for all the people through the years that said there's nobody that wants me to start a Patreon so they can give me money on Patreon, it's right here. Sweatpants Joe and more, right? Because people will say, like, you just hate these people that have Patreons because no one would ever want to give you money. Hey, verified right here. Sweatpants Joe would give me money. If that's the case, Sweatpants Joe, tisk, 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 tisk. I'm going to keep tisking you. Don't give nobody money on Patreon, all right? Okay. Just putting that out there. Shady Platinum, you're absolutely right. Time is precious and should be given to what helps improve you. This was almost going to be the last one here, but I went with something about James Corden. Yeah, I hold to it more than anything else that I've ever said on this platform. The most important thing I will tell you all is something that I learned, and it's time is precious. I've wasted several years of my life doing things that I didn't want to do, being places I didn't want to be, maybe make an argument being in people I didn't want to be inside of. No, probably most people I've been inside of I wanted to be inside of. Sorry to get graphic. But no, whatever you do, whoever you do in life, make sure it's precious time spent. And they're precious people. Okay? That also is one reason why, I canceled Rad Response. And unless there's a real big reason to, I don't really respond to trolls. I don't really respond to people that have nothing of value to offer me. because, time is precious and I'm looking for value there. I'm looking to spend precious time. And sometimes I forget it. Sometimes we all forget it, but that's the biggest thing I will tell all of you is the clock's ticking. All right. Today's like the youngest any of you will ever be. So, I just heard that from I forgot who said that, but that's truthful. One day you'll be 9 years old looking back and, oh, great, Radical Rapid Fire. Fuck, I forgot the format. Come on, I gotta snap through these. Anam, there are some people out there who will not rest until the people who criticized YouTubers back then are gone from the platform. Even if you don't talk about YouTubers anymore like yourself. They are unhappy with their own lives and resent the fact that you can see phonies and frauds for who they are. I don't know why there's so many people that, what'd you say? There are people that resent the fact that I can see phonies. Maybe it's people that were taken advantage of by many of these people that I've criticized, and they're angry about it, which is kind of weird because I would think if you were taken advantage by one of these YouTubers and in many respects, let's say a situation where you sent them some games, they didn't send you any money, or you sent them some games to show off on their videos and they took the games and they didn't do with it. I covered stuff like that in the past. Why would you take it out on me? Why would you take it out on me? It's always usually been people that I thought that resented me is people that love many of these YouTubers. And I've had many people come back and say, well, thank you, Rick. Thank you. Now I see. Several people. I've lost count of how many people through the years will come back and say, you know what? You were wrong about you were right about that cunt and I was wrong. And I'm like, well, thank you. So, yeah, but you're right there. I agree with you there. Kind of bugs me I can't give longer responses to these because, I'm getting back in a rhythm. I'm dedicated, man, on these comment response shows. With science as my shepherd, you have no time for trolls. Your spare time is spent on not watching Miss Lady Double Decade. Talking about Lady Decade. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a hot minute since I've tuned in any Lady Decade. There's really not a whole lot of value of commentary there. I guess a lot of people do tune in because they want to see the assets there. And I think, didn't I have the Lady Decade challenge a couple years back? The challenge was, to put some damn clothes on. That was a challenge. Just, for a little bit. And see if you'd still get the views. See if you would, right? Just put on a jacket, put on a coat or something, right? Just, I forget where exactly she's from, but it can't be, it's got to be cold there sometimes, right? So, I don't have much to say about that. I just thought, why not? So I'll check mark that. At least one time I talk about her and Toppy Hattie Gaming Man each year, and I'll check that off, right? Oh, did you infer that you thought she was a troll? I don't know. Does she fit the definition of a troll? Would you say that? I don't know. They called me trolls. Would she or her husband fit that definition? Or what's any of your definition of trolls, by the way? Rune Mamba, you should have took a pic of her so that we could get a better picture of what you were talking about. This is back when I went to a Meineke. Remember the upload that this comment came from? Meineke is expensive as fuck. And I just talking about a giant set of bosoms. Just a gigantic set of bosoms. And I probably talked about it before, but I just had to share with it. Whenever I see a gigantic set of bosoms and they're on display, sometimes I just go into detail and describe them here. What's wrong about that? Nothing wrong about that. Precious time spent being around and looking at gigantic bosoms. Sam's Horror. Nice controllers. I try to stick with licensed controllers. I do have 2 secondary market NES controllers. I have no NES, so it's pointless. Anyways, thanks for sharing. Well, thanks for checking out that upload. I haven't really showed controllers off in a while. When it comes to the games and showing stuff off, I don't know. It's just, they're okay uploads, but there's really nothing about them that's really, started off kind of a joke with show off, right? Remember 4 or 5 years back, I started off just showing off things. I think it was just socks once. Remember I showed off socks and put YouTubers' names on them? It's kind of a joke. And then right now you might argue sometimes, man, that is one of your worst playlists. I'm like, I don't know. I do what I can with it. I do it every week. Sometimes I just keep doing things because I have to keep up with tradition. Some are better than others. The controller ones, I found that even though I don't find those that interesting, a lot of people like it when I feature a whole lot of controllers. Yeah. Arioka, speaking of video game licenses, I recently got back to playing Shadow of Mordor, as you should, and I'm having a blast. As for The Walking Dead, like open world zombie survival game, the one that comes to mind is State of Decay, that originally came out for the Xbox 360 and was later ported to the Xbox One. Okay, quick question. State of Decay, was that just a game that you could download on the arcade, or was there a disc release? I was curious about that. It'd be awesome if there was a disc release for that. I would hate to think that that was a game I could only get by downloading. But I have downloaded it. It's in my set there. But I know there's a lot of games in arcade that they never had disc releases for. But yeah, talking about The Walking Dead being an open world zombie game, yeah. If somebody like The Walking Dead show, right now it's mostly over, I would say. Well, at least the main show. Right? But if anybody wants a game that closely resembles an experience like you're in The Walking Dead, just unlicensed without those characters, I would recommend definitely State of Decay. And as always, I recommend Shadow of Mordor. Red Stress 97. Never go to a chain to get your car worked on. Go to a private owned place. They will work with you on price. The chains like Meineke, I would never go there. And did I follow up and mention? I don't know if I mentioned this on one of my Meineke uploads, but on my 94 Nissan Sentra, the whole team of mechanics, they called me because they couldn't figure out how to start my car. They said it wouldn't start. But one situation where they turned it over and it would go, not start because the engine wouldn't start. I basically said, what you have to do is you have to put the park up just a little bit. Just push the park up. I was thinking like, okay, it can't be the only vehicle they've seen because it was off a little bit. I mean, I'm not a mechanic. But they can't be the only vehicle to where, like, okay, the position is just a little bit off and they couldn't figure that out. So I figured out I don't want to pay a ton of money to these people that don't know how to start my fucking car. That doesn't instill a whole lot of confidence. So they told me I needed a timing chain job, which would be $1,800. I went somewhere and I got it done. I bought the chain for about $350. About $350. Imagine that. It was, guess what? A private owned place, Red. So maybe I took that advice back then. Terry W. Cars are expensive toys. You need to find and befriend a mechanic. Also great advice. What's better than going from a chain to a private owned mechanic? Befriending a mechanic. Or if you already have a friend that's going to mechanic school, then that's going to be very, very valuable. I'm not saying just become a friend of a mechanic just because of that, because then they'll figure out if you're just hanging around them and you talk to them only when you need car work done. You want to have a mix of actually becoming their friend. But if you can befriend a mechanic, then great advice. Here's some other advice, which I need to take myself. Quit befriending people that never have money and are always out of work. Because guess what? If you befriend people that are always out of money, it's going to get kind of awkward if they try to borrow money from you. Art Bell. News. Major article on the death of late night shows on Breitbart's news site. CBS was losing $20 million a year on James Corden. Ouch. Rick has no time for cable TV. I expect... Well, I make time for, like I said, things that I enjoy. Here lately, I make a whole lot of time to catch basketball. I've been watching and following up with a whole lot of basketball. It's WrestleMania time, so I'm making time for that today and tomorrow. When it comes to late night talk shows, some can be okay. We are out of the glory days, though, of late night talk. I'm talking about Jay Leno, Letterman, basically those two, and then Conan O'Brien. We go from Letterman, Leno, and Conan O'Brien, after that, to James Corden and Jimmy Fallon. Does James Corden still even have a late night show? I mean, some people like the Man Show guy that was from the Man Show. a lot of people say they like Seth. What's his name? Not Seth Rogen, Seth Meyers. I guess Seth is okay. The X-Man show guy. I don't know. Like, But none of them scream. Nobody currently in late night talk show screams late night talk show host. I mean, like Carson, like Letterman and Leno, they probably looked at and learned from Carson. That was the typical way that someone was. And there's different variations on that. And if this were a longer type thing, I would go into it more. But James Corden, I just want to focus on James Corden. And he's on the thumbnail. Many of you will say, who the fuck is James Corden? What is the deal with this guy? He is fat, overweight, seems like, just from looking at the guy, he's an insufferable cunt. Turns out, everything I've read about him is he is actually an insufferable cunt. So he's not talented. He's not funny. Okay, when Carson, Leno, Letterman, they were talented. They were funny. So you ask yourself, okay, why the fuck is this guy in that position? Who does he know? He had carpool karaoke where he basically just drove around with celebrities and sang fucking terribly. All right. How was that? What's entertaining about that? I mean, I don't understand the entertainment because there's nothing. It's not late night talk. All right. It's a style, man. It's a style. All right. I could do a lot better than James Corden. All right. When it comes to hosting and interviewing, he's a shit interviewer too. So again, late night talk show, I'm not surprised if it's dead or dying because these current crop of people, they are just not great at late night talk. A lot of them are just plain insufferable. Also Jimmy Fallon, like what the fuck? Jimmy Fallon, but James Corden, I would say he's probably the worst of this new crop of them.